But some of the consequences that are not positive, and we'll get to some things that will, I think, help us build that mental capacity and that fortitude to move forward. But sometimes when we allow people or individuals or even a group of people to get us off course by their opinions, it causes mental stress. Sometimes it causes emotional stress, and sometimes that messes with our physical health. There are people who lay awake at night, who don't get the proper rest that they need because their mind is spinning because somebody didn't like their presentation at work that day. There are people who stay up at night, or there are people who spend money they don't have to get the approval from people because somebody said something about what they had on, and they end up going into debt trying to please, get the approval of, satisfy the, the visual whatever of somebody else. A few more consequences. It reduces authenticity. So sometimes when you allow people's opinions to take root in your life, in your heart, in your mind, it causes you to act like somebody that you're not. And that's the worst place to be in life, because I shared it with you on an earlier episode, an earlier show, but I read a quote that simply said, trying to be somebody else is a waste of the person that you are. Yeah. You're authentic. You are unique. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And when you try to be like somebody else, God didn't make you like God. Listen, nobody has the same two fingerprints. You are who you are. And when you allow other people to rain on your parade, it reduces authenticity. So how do we get to a place where we put a halt to the habit of caring about what other people think, or allowing that to stop our progress as we seek to move forward and having greater impact wherever you are? You may not be doing what I'm doing. That's fine. I'm not doing what you're doing. We have different gifts. How can we get to a place where we stop allowing the opinions, the voices, and the energy of negative people to get in the way of our progress toward greatness? Number one, the first way to do that, the first way to get to a place where you stop caring about what other people think to the point that it stops your progress, is you got to do some self-reflection. Number one, that's the first step. I got to ask myself, what is the root cause of me allowing other people's opinions to stop me? Is it something that happened during my childhood? Is it a relationship that I really cherished that I lost? What is it? What's the root cause of me sitting here crying myself to sleep at night because I'm trying to get the approval of somebody that will never like me? Isn't it interesting that even if you show up? I remember I was in, the 8th grade, and growing up, I told you before that I worked with my dad on working, cutting down trees and raking leaves and grinding stumps, doing some hard down south labor, right? Remember one summer I wanted some shoes, and he was like, "You out of your mind." Yeah, he said, "I'm not buying those shoes." And at that time, of course, shoes now are triple what they were then. But he said, "I'm not buying those shoes." And so he said, "You can work this summer and make money, or whatever you want to do with that money. You can purchase those or not. That's up to you. But I'm not going in my pocket to spend, the shoes were maybe about $70, maybe. That sounds kind of high. I don't think I wanted shoes that high. Maybe they were about $60, $55, $60. He's like, "I'm not, nah." And just for context, we grew up getting our school shoes from Payless, just for context, right? We didn't get name brand shoes. Listen, I'm grateful because We got what I have a kid now, and it's interesting to me how my wife and I are raising him, and he doesn't really understand. And of course, he's 3, so he still has a little time to gain an appreciation for purchasing things that maybe he like or things that have better quality. But nonetheless, when we were growing up, we didn't have access. My siblings and I, we didn't have access to high-end products and shoes, and so I worked that summer. Here it is. And I got enough money to buy those shoes. And did I miss a part of the story? The reason why I wanted to buy those shoes was because the school year prior, I was being made fun of. Yeah, I didn't have name brand shoes. And so I said, when I go back to school next August, or when I go back to school when it's time to enroll, I'm going to go to school with some nice shoes on. They're not going to make fun of my shoes anymore. Now, it hits different when you got to spend your own money. It hits different when you finally realize that, hey, if I show up with those shoes or not, the people that are talking about me with my cheap shoes on, if I have some more expensive shoes on, they're still going to talk about me. I got to the counter and I was trying to buy some Nike Cortez. Yeah. Yeah. I think my uncle had gone down south and I saw him. He lived in Long Beach, and so he had a little Cali swag, and I said, man, I like those shoes. I'm going to get those shoes. Next time you see me, I'm going to have those shoes on. So he had some Nike Cortez, and I bought some Nike. I they had my size. I put them on the counter, and when the clerk or the attendant told me how much they cost, and I realized I had to spend my own money on them, and when I realized as I'm in my head at the counter, at the register, thinking to myself, if I buy these shoes or not, those jokers are not going to like me either way. I put them back. Yeah, I put them back. I think I was going to the 9th grade, maybe. I put them back. I said, I forget that. I'm not spending this kind of money on these shoes. Plus, it just came to me in line. I already knew it, but it was. I guess it reoccurred to me. Yeah, these people they're not for me anyway. So you got to do some self-reflection. If you're going to get to a place where you stop caring what people think, you got to ask yourself, why do I care? What does this stem from? Why do I march to the beat of somebody else's drum? Why am I always in a position where I'm trying to get the approval of other people? No. You got to do some self-reflection and ask yourself, why? The second thing you got to do if you're going to build, the second thing I would offer to you, I should say, if you're going to build the kind of mind that will allow you to block out noise, you got to develop self-compassion. Yeah, you got to develop self-compassion, which includes practicing self-acceptance. Yeah, you got to get to a place where you got to ask yourself, before I can expect somebody else to accept me, do I accept myself? Yeah, do I accept myself? Do I love me for me? Now, all of us can do better in certain areas of our life, but I'm saying at your core, do you accept you? There's oftentimes when people don't accept themselves, when they don't love themselves, they depend on outside, external things to validate them, and it causes them not to appreciate and love themselves. The third thing you got to do is, I would encourage you to focus on your values. Yeah, you're focusing on stuff that has nothing to do with your morals, your values, or your principles. You gotta identify, and when I say focus on your values, hear me out. You got to focus on what means the most to you in life. When you focus on your values, right, that also creates inside of you this kind of tunnel vision, where you're to the place where you're no longer depending on other people to tell you what your value system should include or exclude. No, you've developed your own system. You've developed your own set of principles. And most times when people care about what other people think, it's because they're relying on other people to give them or to be a guide for them. And you don't have your own internal North Star. Number 4, challenge negative thoughts. Yeah. If you're going to build a strong mind, you can't just let negative thoughts just be sitting there. Challenge them. Yeah, ask those negative thoughts. When they come to you next time, ask those negative thoughts, what are you doing to help me get closer to my goals? Yeah, this negative thought that comes to your mind, ask yourself, man, this negative thought has come to my mind. What is, if I act on that negative thought, how closer am I to reaching my ideal place in life if I go that route rather than staying on the route that I know I'm called to be on? You got to ask yourself, I got to challenge these negative thoughts and also practice within that perspective taking. Yeah. Within yourself. Challenge, how am I looking at this? Should I be looking at this through these lenses? Should I be looking at this through from this point of view? Number 5, limit social comparison. That really, I'm talking about social media, these platforms. Limit social comparison. You can look at people, look at things for inspiration. That's cool. But if you stare so long and go down that rabbit hole and allow other people's lifestyle or what they've achieved to get you down in the dumps, you're out of order. You got to limit social comparison. Number 6, surround yourself with supportive people. Now, I didn't say surround yourself with a bunch of yes men. Yeah, I paused for emphasis purposes right there. I didn't say surround yourself with a bunch of people that co-sign everything you do. Support comes in various different forms. There are some people around you that support you, and all they do is tell you what's right, tell you what's good, tell you how to reach the next level. But there are some people that are around you to help you. I remember one time I had a person of influence in my life, an educator, who kind of told me some things that I didn't want to hear one time. And I said to myself, wow, this person is very blunt, very whatever. And it caused me to self-reflect, though. Instead of hearing all the good stuff, this individual said, no, you ain't going to hear all the fluff and the good stuff from me. I'm going to challenge your thinking and get you to a place where you realize and recognize it ain't easy moving ahead in life. Number 7, stay present. Yeah, don't allow somebody else's opinion to take you down a rabbit hole in the future, that you create something negative that may never happen. Stay present. Number 8, take action despite fear. Number 9, cultivate gratitude. And number 10, seek professional help if you need it.